We've all been there, mouth agape, eyes wide, watching a magician make something vanish into thin air. Illusions captivate and amaze us. They challenge our perception of reality. The answer lies in the fascinating workings of the human brain. Illusions are crafted demonstrations of the science of perception. They exploit how our brains process information. Understanding these tricks offers a glimpse into our minds. Let's start with a simple truth. Seeing is not always believing. Our brains don't passively record the world like a camera. Instead, they actively construct our perception of reality based on incoming sensory information, past experiences, and even our expectations. This constructive process is where illusions come into play. They exploit the shortcuts and assumptions our brains make, leading us to perceive things that aren't real or to misinterpret what's right in front of us. Take optical illusions, for example. These visual puzzles tease our brains, revealing the inherent biases and assumptions our visual system relies on. Lines appear to bend when they're perfectly straight. Objects seem to move when they're stationary. Our brains take shortcuts, relying on past experiences and expectations to fill in the gaps, even when those shortcuts lead to inaccurate perceptions. Illusions exploit how our brains process visual information. Our eyes scan surroundings, sending data to the brain. The brain takes shortcuts based on patterns and past experiences. Optical illusions target these shortcuts. The bent pencil illusion shows light refraction. Manipulating color and contrast tricks our perception. A gray square can appear different based on its background. Section 4. The Science of Prestidigitation. But illusions aren't limited to the visual realm. Magicians, masters of deception, employ a combination of psychology, sleight of hand, and often a good dose of physics to create seemingly impossible feats. Levitation, a classic magic trick, often relies on misdirection and cleverly disguised support systems. Magicians use our expectations against us, drawing our attention to one area while subtly manipulating objects in another. A magician might gesture dramatically upwards with one hand, leading our gaze skyward, while the other hand subtly uses a transparent thread or a well-placed rod to lift the object. Card tricks, another staple of magic shows, often exploit our limited capacity to track multiple items simultaneously. By controlling the order of cards, forcing specific cards on spectators, and employing skillful sleight of hand, magicians create the illusion of mind reading or precognition. The key lies in diverting our attention at critical moments, making us miss the subtle movements that make the trick possible. Section 5. Illusion beyond the stage. The principles behind illusions extend far beyond the stage and into our everyday lives. Understanding how our brains can be tricked has practical applications in various fields, from technology and art to safety and design. In technology, engineers and designers use their knowledge of perception to create more user-friendly interfaces and immersive experiences. Virtual reality, for instance, relies heavily on tricking our senses to create convincing illusions of being in another place. By manipulating what we see, hear, and even feel, VR technology can transport us to distant lands, put us in the cockpit of a fighter jet, or allow us to walk among dinosaurs. Artists, too, have long understood the power of illusion. Forced perspective, a technique used in painting, photography, and even architecture, manipulates our depth perception to make objects appear larger, smaller, closer, or farther away than they actually are. This technique can be used to create dramatic effects in landscapes, make buildings seem more imposing, or even add a touch of whimsy to a still life. Section 6. Magic in your hands. Now, are you ready to experience the magic firsthand? Here's a simple illusion you can try at home. The floating finger illusion. Hold your hands out in front of you, palms facing each other, about a foot apart. Touch your index fingertips together. Focus your gaze on a point in the distance beyond your fingers. Slowly move your fingers apart about an inch, keeping your gaze fixed on the distant point. You should see a floating finger appear between your fingertips, even though they're no longer touching. This illusion works because your brain, used to seeing your fingers as part of a connected hand, fills in the gap based on your expectations. This simple trick demonstrates the power of our brains to create illusions and highlights how easily our perception can be influenced. Section 7. The enduring allure of illusion. From the awe-inspiring feats of stage magicians to the subtle tricks our brains play on us daily, illusions offer a fascinating window into the workings of the human mind. They remind us that our perception of reality is not a passive recording but an active construction, influenced by a complex interplay of sensory input, past experiences, and expectations. So, the next time you encounter an illusion, whether it's a mind-bending optical illusion, a baffling magic trick, or even a simple visual puzzle, take a moment to appreciate the science behind the spectacle. Consider the perceptual shortcuts, the manipulations of light and shadow, and the psychological principles at play. And perhaps you'll be inspired to explore the world with a renewed sense of wonder, questioning what you see and appreciating the intricate and often deceptive nature of human perception.